The issue of digitizing your lands commission or creating that efficiency, it is a very challenging issue, and so I don't blame any government or any one stakeholder for sort of creating a solution for this. In fact, one of the only places that where a government has been able to successfully digitize their land registry is Canada. You would think it's in the states, no, it's not. To be honest with you, in the states, it's the insurance market that sort of owns that sort of piece. But in Canada, like as I said, in Ontario, a company called Terranet put this together, and even for them, it took them a long time to digitize it, and also as well, it cost them hundreds of millions of dollars, right? And so you can imagine bringing that same context here, how much it would cost and sort of how cumbersome it can be, right? And so what I would suggest is a concept that maybe is a bit too technical for here, but really a concept that is very cheap. It's called day forwarding, where essentially you can create a digitized system with the transactions from this day forward. So essentially, each time an individual does due diligence on a property, let's say this property here, right? Let's say you check this land here to check if I own this land, right? Each time you do that check, that information can then be digitized and put on a platform, right? Because that check has been done at the Lands Commission, and then the results have come out that, hey, yes, I do own this land. And then each time you purchase a property as well, so once the title has then been sent back to you, that registration, that information as well can then be put on the blockchain, right? So that's one way of doing it. The other way of thinking about it as well is, and what CESO did to start, was we targeted a lot of the large-scale property developers, the credible guys. So there are a good chunk of sort of credible guys. The Ghana Real Estate Development Association, GREDA, is one of those where there are a lot of members there that have created developments. Those can be easily digitized because typically these guys have done due diligence on their land and sort of understand and sort of have understood the terrain as well. And so those can also be potentially put on the platform. You would still want to do the due diligence on because nothing is 100%, but that can be put on as well, right? Yeah, I mean, and you can always sort of utilize the traditional methods as well, right, of surveying, where although that is a very expensive way to do it, but it may be useful to utilize those methods for especially areas like more sort of slum areas or more areas that are not as residential
Accessible.
or exactly accessible. Those areas you might want to sort of actually do a
Yeah.
survey, although again that costs a lot of money and maybe you might want to get some grant money for that. Obviously we started at the corporate level. We went to property developers, went to banks, more so as a business because it's the lowest hanging fruit, or at least the easiest. It's easier. It takes me the same amount of time to convince you
Yeah.
of something as it would to convince a big organization.
Yeah.
And so we went there because we could get the most bang for our buck. But at the end of the day, if you want to sort of fully populate anything, I mean, most of the properties here in Ghana, I think 90% or so, are built by individuals, right? Other than and so, I mean, at some point, and obviously with government help, this would be great. But we could do like a marketing campaign where it says, "Register your property. Do you own your property?" Where individuals can come in, register their property, and then that registration, the data from that goes into our database. And so once it's on that database, you are much more secure that your land or whatever, the information there is on one sort of pure ledger, right? One pure database where the information is not shuffled around in different silos, which is the issue now with the Lands Commission, right? And so that's something that we'd very much like to do, especially maybe next year. It's something that we do want to push. And that's why we partner with lawyers as well, because in Ghana, it's the conveyancer that needs to sort of register your land or do the due diligence. But we'd love to do a bit more with government as well on that in the future.